The Giants Live World Tour Finals in Glasgow has wrapped up, and it's gone much as other competitions have gone this year for me. I'm going to break it down, talk about the athletes, talk about how it went, and ultimately what this means and my plans moving forward. Event number one was the dumbbell ladder. Now, I've done this dumbbell ladder once before in 2022. I got through 4 of the 5 dumbbells, meaning that I lifted the 110 and missed the 120. Since then, I think my dumbbell's gotten considerably better, but 120 at the end of a dumbbell series is still a huge task. Last time they did this run, only 1 person finished it. The year that I did it, only 2 people finished it. You sort of have to be one of the best dumbbell pressers in the world to be able to get there. To compound this difficulty, there are many guys going in who are capable of doing really well. Newcomer Roman Grekov, this is his best event. Trey Mitchell, seems like the Achilles rupture just inspired him to a whole new level. Luke Richardson was looking really solid on the dumbbell. Luke Stoltman has finished this series in the past, so I knew to get off to a good start, I had to make sure that I finished all the dumbbells. I went out, I knocked it out. I did really, really well. Had a bit of a stumble on the 120 at lockout, but managed to get it, and I got a time somewhere around 42, 43 seconds. The world record on this is by Alexei Novikov at 38 seconds. I don't understand. I don't get it. I don't understand where I wasted time and he did that. So just proves Alexei, back when he was at his prime, was absolutely unreal in this. Roman Grekov came second in this event, and I only beat him by a fraction, maybe a second and a half, which was incredible. Luke Stolman also finished. And that was a really cool moment because him and I were head-to-head. Scotland crowd, they were excited for him. They were excited when I finished, and just the roar of the crowd at the end there, always special. And fans in Glasgow really, really bring the energy. I have my criticisms around Glasgow as a city. It's not my place that I'm most excited to go, but when it comes to the fans, I think they might be at the top of the list. One other person finished the dumbbells. That was Trey Mitchell. And Trey Mitchell continues on this streak of just absolutely incredible performances. And I don't think we've seen his best. I think this is the best he's ever been, but I don't think this is the end of his recovery. Based on the trajectory, I think 2025, Trey Mitchell is going to bring something pretty special. Event number 2 was the Farmer's Walk into yoke. This was one that I knew that I should win, and I'm just really fortunate. These are events that come naturally to me. I didn't train them really at all. I just knew that if I executed, things would go well. Ended up going exactly to plan. Super smooth, 20 meters with 150 farmers. I could have taken them for 40. Grip was feeling really good. The yoke, 1,000 pounds, I think I did it in under 10 seconds in 20 meters in a medley, which is great. I think I beat my time the last time I did this yoke as a standalone event. And that was enough for the event win. Now, we had a couple of guys from the SCL do extremely well in this. Evans Nana, 27 seconds. And Luke Stoltman crushed it. The other guy who did very well was Kane Francis at 32 seconds. But between 27 and 32 seconds, there was a handful of guys. I think Pavel Kordiaka was in there. And that's just sort of the nature of it. When you have a giant show and you have a medley, oftentimes a second or two can make a massive difference. Now, at this stage, I was starting to stretch away. I think I was in the lead by maybe 5 points. And of course, I am thinking about gaining as many points as possible. I'm thinking about the last event and what I'm going to do. So event number 3, that was the deadlift for reps. I haven't lost this in a really long time. And frankly, in this lineup, there wasn't anyone that I thought would contest with huge numbers. Luke Richardson's still on the comeback, but hit 5 reps. Now, you guys should know that this changed from the lighter set to the heavier set. So the heavier axle deadlift is what we were doing. The world record of that one is 8, and it's much more difficult than 350 kilo. The wheels are harder than the blobs, put it that way. I've tied this world record in the past at 8. I ended up doing 6. That's what I had to do. I had 8 in me on the day for sure. I had a little mishap with straps. I actually don't own figure 8 straps at the moment. So I borrowed Luke Stoltman's. They were a little bit too big for me, so they were sliding off my hands. That's why I had to take an extra second there. But 6 was good. I was paired up with Evans Nana, who I, in my research, thought was a good but not great deadlifter. And he pulls out 5 reps and he's going down to do a 6. So there's a little funny moment in there where I was down at the bar looking over at him, seeing if he was going to do it, and I had to go strap in to do another rep. Other great performances. Wes Serwinski hit 5 on this apparatus, as did Trey Mitchell. as did Luke Richardson. So there's a handful of guys tied at 5. Now, with Trey Mitchell, people talk about his 470 and maybe he's not recovered or whatever it may be. The difference is, the big difference that I knew was going to happen is that a suit helps so much off of the floor, and axle deadlifts are so difficult off of the floor that axle deadlift for reps without a suit is just really, really hard. It's such a big ask. I knew that his number would be lower than people would expect. And Luke Richardson tied a PB from pre-hamstring tear injury, which was fantastic. At this stage, I was 10.5 points in the lead going into the Hercules hold, which was, to be honest, the only event that I was a little bit concerned about. Wasn't sure how it was going to go. It felt really good in warm-ups, or in familiarization, I should say. I thought, I was pretty sure I could take that for quite a while, but you don't really know until you're out there. And it was, to be honest, the whole field was down, whether it was the farmer's walk or yoke or, systemic fatigue is going to be shown first in your grip strength. If you're fatigued, grip goes first. And potentially that was a part of it. Part of it might've been new kit. Roman Grekov had an issue with the setup, and he ended up doing a 35-second Hercules hold on one foot. Big performance here by Chris Beetham, which was great in front of his home crowd. Currently Scotland's strongest man, and definitely a performance to hang his hat on. He got 49 seconds. We had a chunk of guys from 49 to 55 seconds, or 45 to 55, I should say. Then Trey Mitchell goes out, does 1:09. Luke Richardson goes out, does 1:05. I think Wes Derwinski was high 50s. He had quite a good result as well. By the time I went up, I knew that I had to get over a minute to not lose too many points. And if I got 1:10, then my competition was effectively over. I grabbed the Hercules and I put my feet in the wrong spot. So I was trying not to fall backwards the whole time. I felt uncomfortable in the lower half from the get-go, but my hands were totally fine. I got 1:10. When that was announced, I dropped it. And I genuinely think this is something that I could contest the world record on, which feels like a crazy thing for me to say, but it truly is. It truly is how I feel based on that performance. And it's just crazy to me how all of this has gone, and the conversation of best of all time or not, I'll talk about that in a second, but just the fact that I've been launched into this category of people that I never aspired to be there, and I didn't aspire to be there because I didn't think that I could. If that's a lesson for any of you guys, there's plenty of things that you can do that you don't believe. It's actually the number one personality default and problem I see in people is that they just don't believe that they can do things. And as a confident guy, even I wasn't confident enough to be able to believe that this is something that was on the cards for me. Now, this meant I think my lead at this stage was 14 because I had won 4 events in a row. And we're back to the dilemma of, do I do the stones? Do I not do the stones? And I have a competition in 3 weeks' time, the Rogue Invitational. And I decided to save myself for that for 2 reasons. 1, because I don't want to get injured. But 2, because if I went, it would make the competition less exciting. So to me, it was the more respectful thing to do for the fans. I spoke to Luke Richardson, who was the only person who would be impacted by the decision. And if he had a preference one way or the other, I just would have done that. But he truly didn't. And so if I pulled out, that means that Chris Beetham didn't have to go out by himself. He got to go in a pair. And Trey Mitchell and Luke Richardson got to go head to head to see who would come second and who would come third, which proved to be a really good decision because that was a very exciting stone run. Trey Mitchell squeaking out Luke Richardson by maybe a few seconds at most. And that meant the podium was myself in first, Trey Mitchell again in second, incredible, and Luke Richardson rounding it out in third spot. Evans Nana ended up in 5th, which was amazing. And Luke Stoltman won the stones, super strong performance, leaving him in 4th. And that was the top 5. You can hear it in my voice. I'm getting worn out, but I'm not getting worn out by competition. My body feels good. I'm just on the move so much and doing so much and posting here every day and traveling and appearances, et cetera, that I'm just ready for the end of the season. I'm just worn out, and I just want to have a period of time where I'm at home with my family, in routine, able to relax. And I genuinely just, people should know that if I was pushed and if I thought that, I need to give everything, say in a World's Strongest Man prep or something, there are a lot of things I'm doing right now that don't have me at my best, from the travel, and with that comes inconsistent nutrition, although I do my best despite that. The obligations and meet and greets and allowing myself to run myself into the ground and just basically going, okay, body, hopefully you can hold together. And I've been lucky enough to hold together so far. Is it something that is sustainable forever? No. But I'm not going to be in strongman forever. Now let's talk about that a bit. This was an amazing thing, ticking off 4 Giants lives in 1 year. Now I have 5, which is tied for the 3rd most of all time with Evan Singleton, who also has 5. Zydrunas has 6 and Thor has 9. I need, although very unlikely, I need 1 more year of the exact same quality of performances to be able to tie Zydrunas. I think this is a list that I could be on the top of by the end of my career. And when it comes to competing, I said this on the live stream, but I'll say it here, when it comes to competing, if I'm in shape and there's a competition that is worthwhile for me to do, a Giants Live, a major show, an Arnold, or something of that caliber, it is not within me to allow someone else to have a title without going and competing. And this is twofold. One, I'm not happy to lose, but I totally accept losing. World's Strongest Man this year, for example, I give it my all, and I'm proud of Tom Saltman for winning. That's phenomenal, and he deserved every bit of that. So that is one part of it. I would like to be there to have a crack at that title as well. The other part of it is I think athletes should only take pride on winning competitions when they are pushed to their limit and when they are at their best. And I would encourage every single guy out there to take care of all those little things. Take care of all the things that maybe you shouldn't, and let's raise the sport together. I don't like to be in the position I'm in and, last event and I've already won. Of course it's great, but it's great mostly for the bank account, not necessarily for pride in strongman or proud of my performance. I'm proud of elements of my performance, but when I look at this trophy, I'm not thinking like, I had to go through war to get that. And I kind of want to. I kind of want to be at that level. I kind of want to be pushed and challenged and excited. So that being said, next year, I will do everything that I did this year, competition-wise. I'll continue going to the shows. I'll have the same approach. I think it would be dumb not to. I've won 8 of 9 shows with 1 more to go. But back to winning 4 Giants in a year. Incredibly meaningful to me because Giants to me is what's pushing the sport forward the most and the fastest. That's how most people are exposed to it, whether it's on TV before World's Strongest Man at Christmas in the UK, whether it's on the live stream, but it's just the most regular distribution of strongman content. They have 4 shows a year internationally and then 2 more nationally on top of OSG, the qualifying pathway to World's Strongest Man. It's really just to be associated with them is something that I find to be a privilege and something that I'm very, very happy to continue to do. The funny thing that I realized is that I've done 8 competitions so far this year, which is a lot, but at the Arnold, I didn't have to do the last event. At the Strongman Classic, I didn't have to do the last event. At Giants Live World Open, I didn't have to do the last event. In Vegas, I didn't have to try in the last event. I just had to participate. And in this show, I didn't have to do the last events at all. So that's 5 events that I didn't have to do. So really, I've done 8 shows, but I've only done 7 shows worth of events, which I thought was quite a funny realization. Now, that's the recap. I'm going to continue to compete. I love to compete. I'm going to continue to compete in every show available to me, and I'm going to do that for the foreseeable future. And the foreseeable future starts in 3 weeks. I have my head down. I am laser focused on the Rogue Invitational, and I want to win this title. I want to win, and I want to, as much as I say I want it to be a close contest, my intention is to go and not make it a close contest. My intention is to go give it my all, and hopefully other guys have the same intention, and that really raises the level. I think this is a show that I could really make a statement and prove a lot of people wrong. I know at the Strongest Man on Earth, there was a lot of chatter about how many events Thor won, and I'd like to just shut that up as a bit of personal pride. Now, I'd love to know your guys' thoughts on strongman at the moment. Am I ruining it? Is it getting boring for you, or is it exciting to watch someone be able to win relatively easily? Is it exciting still, even though other athletes are starting to concede that they're there for second place? Which, by the way, I wouldn't do. I would never do that. Yeah, I'd love to know your guys' thoughts. The energy's a little bit low just because I'm tired. I've just woken up, but I wanted to get this video out to you as soon as possible. If you want to support the channel, merch link is in the description. If you want to be the strongest version of yourself, the programs are down there as well, written by me with education alongside the programs. Thank you very much for watching, guys. As per usual, lift heavy, be kind, and we will catch you tomorrow.